Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Kelly J. Keane Minshall, otherwise known as Posey Parker, was recently attacked by a trans activist with a can of soup. The second time a trans activist has attacked Kelly J. Keane with a can of soup. Why a can of soup, you may be wondering. I don't know. Someone please explain to me why they think it's a good idea for trans activists, their weapon of choice, ladies and gentlemen, to attack a woman that is a honey badger, is a can of soup. It'd be like one of those video games, choose your weapon, a sword, a knife, a gun, whatever else. But no, I'm going to choose a can of soup because that is the obvious smart thing to use or to do when you attack somebody. Like, let's just throw a can of soup over their head because nothing says I gotcha than a can of Heinz tomato soup being poured on your head. Wow. Anyway, so that took place. Many people see Kelly J. Keane as a women's rights activist and a hero of sorts. And like I said, she's got a honey badger mentality, which I honestly love because you've got to be a honey badger when it comes to these sorts of trans activists that go out of their way to try and stop real women everywhere from actually talking. Because one thing I find absolutely amazing in all of this is these trans activists that want to identify as being women love to take over and stop women from talking. More than that, they also love taking over their spaces. So I recently saw Kelly J. Keane post this. She got into a rather heated debate over the fact that her sign that says what a woman is, an adult human female, was taken down in Liverpool because some doctor surprisingly has got nothing better to do with his time and he's a trans activist sympathizer. He decided to call up a lot of the people in the company and get the sign taken down. You know why? Because it was offensive to trans women, according to this so-called doctor. So this doctor, obviously he's not really practicing that much, because if he was practicing, he would be inundated, because the medical hospital system in the UK at the moment is shocking. But seemingly he's got a lot of time on his hands to actually take down a harmless sign, because apparently it offends trans people, which to me is also rather interesting, because a sign saying the thing that a person is trying to identify as actually offends them. That is just doesn't make any sense to me, but it's just a reminder that they're never actually going to be women because they don't fit the definition. And so that's probably where they go, oh, that's offensive, that's transphobic. They go throw out all these labels, right? And they go after an actual biological woman that stands up for real women. Now, again, I'll say Kelly J. Keane has the honey badger mentality, and it's clear as day in this heated debate between this so-called doctor and my goodness, you guys are going to have to watch the whole thing. It goes for about 9 minutes. So once you've watched the entire 9 minutes, then we'll make a couple of comments at the very end. So have a watch.
Giant poster quoting a Google dictionary definition of the word woman has been removed from a wall in Liverpool. The poster read, woman, women, noun, adult, human, female. But according to one LGBTQ activist, it qualified as hate speech and was deemed dangerous for transgender women. I'm joined now from Newcastle by Dr. Adrian Harrop, who campaigned for the poster's removal. And in our central London studio, we can speak to Kelly J. Keane Minshall, founder of the women's rights organisation Standing for Women, who were behind the poster. Hello to you both. Dr. Adrian Harrop, to you first. What is so offensive about the dictionary definition of women?
There is nothing inherently offensive with the dictionary definition of women. That really isn't what this was about at all. This is about what that particular poster presented in that particular way, in that particular location, represents, and what the underlying meaning and the thinking that was driving putting up that poster.
So what was the underlying meaning then? To anyone looking at it, was it any more than a dictionary definition?
So that poster was put up by a campaign group that is led by Miss Keane Minshall, who has led and spearheaded a campaign against trans people, particularly against trans women, that's extended over several months now, mostly online, but also in a real-life environment, where she sought to demonise trans women and to highlight them as dangerous sexual predators. This poster that was put up is a symbol of that campaign. It is that campaign made flesh, as it were, and for transgender people who are living and working in Liverpool, it is a reminder to them that they are under such immense public scrutiny for every single aspect of their identity, their behaviour, their body shape, their appearance. And that campaign is led by this woman, Miss Keane Minshall, aka Posey Parker. And that's the reason why it should have been taken down.
Let's get a response then from Kelly J. Keane Minshall. This was part of a targeted transphobic campaign by you and your organisation.
Well, firstly, I'd like to remind Mr. Harrop that I'm married, so I'm Mrs. Keane Minshall. And secondly, the point of this campaign was simply to highlight the absurdity that in 2018, saying woman equals adult human female is an offensive thing to say. And Mr. Harrop delightfully has proven that point by having a tantrum and contacting every CEO or every executive on the board of Prime Site until it got removed. But
this wasn't a one-off, though. This wasn't just a poster that you put up with the definition of woman on it. And we should say you're wearing that definition on the T-shirt that you're wearing today, Kelly J, as well. What Mr. Harrop is saying, that this was part of a long-running campaign by you and your organisation, and as such, it was offensive.
How is the definition of woman offensive?
Adrian Harrop.
What a ludicrous thing to say.
Adrian Harrop, your response.
It really isn't about the definition itself, though, is it, Posey? It's not about that. It's about the fact that you have specifically
and Mrs. Keane Minshall, Adrian Harrop.
Mrs. Keane Minshall, I apologise, and it's Dr. Harrop, thank you. You have explicitly excluded trans women from your definition of women.
Absolutely, of course I exclude trans women for the definition of woman, adult human female.
That is not something that is appropriate.
Would you like to explain to us as a
society.
doctor what a woman is, Mr. Harrop?
A woman, Dr. Harrop, thank you, Mrs. Keane Minshall. A woman is a person who identifies as a woman.
Is that what you do when somebody comes into A&E? You ask their identity before you treat them?
Absolutely not, Mrs. Keane Minshall, and you are fully aware of that.
That's not about identity, is it?
I do not identify.
What you're seeking to do, what you and your misogynistic allies seek to do, is erase what it means to be a woman in law and in life. And that is why this campaign has been absolutely essential. If you didn't push women to the point that we are very, very angry, that we feel we have to protect the language around us by using words like cervix havers, menstruators, cervical cancer, obliterating the word woman, not even using it in campaign material, we wouldn't feel the need to assert the fact that the meaning of woman is only the definition, is only adult human female. So I think the ball is very much in your court.
What do you have, Kelly J. Keane Minshall, against trans women?
I don't. I just don't think they're women.
So I will counter that point, Mrs. Keane Minshall, by stating that you have led a directly transphobic campaign that has extended over several months, where you've attempted
as much of a transphobic campaign as you have a misogynist one.
You attack,
intimidate and harass women on Twitter all the time.
Over a period of months, Mrs. Keane Minshall, and you cannot deny that. You have had a hand in this.
Could you remind everyone how many women you have threatened to report to their employers? How many women have you threatened to report to their employers? How many, are you under guidance at the moment because you call women disgusting misogynist names on Twitter?
That's not true at all, Mrs. Keane Minshall, and you know
should be.
Well,
you told a woman on Twitter she didn't delete.
Can I ask, speaking of Twitter, Kelly J. Keane Minshall, about your own Twitter account, which has currently been suspended, both your Posey Parker account and your Human Female account. You yourself were questioned by police, West Yorkshire Police, after accusations that you made towards Susie Green, the mother of a 16-year-old, took her child to Thailand.
Would you like to elaborate on that accusation? It was because I said I thought it was wrong to castrate a 16-year-old child.
I'm asking whether by using the language that you're using, castration, you were being deliberately provocative.
No, I'm being deliberately truthful in an age where it doesn't seem feasible that people can just speak the truth. Well, the truth is, most women aren't comfortable with calling trans women women and giving up our rights to men.
Let's talk about truth and freedom of speech. Adrian Harrop, can I talk about truth and freedom of speech? Why did you want to see this poster censored? If you didn't agree with it, could you not have put up your own alongside it?
I absolutely respect the fact that Mrs. Keane Minshall does have a right to free speech. What Mrs. Keane Minshall does not have a right to do is to make transgender people in Liverpool feel unsafe and unwelcome in their own community.
With the definition of woman.
Yes, with
if you can't see the absurdity in what you're saying, then I don't know if anybody can help you. It cannot be such that the definition of woman, the dictionary definition of woman, is offensive. Do you know how offensive that is to women?
No one is objecting. Mrs. Keane Minshall, no one is objecting to the dictionary definition. No one is wanting to alter
you are. That's exactly what you did.
Definition. However, the fact that this term has been appropriated by your overtly transphobic campaign,
a dictionary definition,
by your overtly transphobic campaign, makes transgender people feel unsafe and unwelcome in their own.
A dictionary definition on a billboard makes men feel unsafe.
It is the symbolism behind the poster.
The symbolism is black and white, plain English truth. That is the symbolism. The symbolism is that we knew when we put the billboard up that chaps like yourself would think that they could control what we think and what we say. We know this. And that's why we did it. It's absolutely time that women are allowed to talk about ourselves, our spaces, our rights and our legal rights without men like you telling us that we are not allowed to speak.
Okay, I'm going to have to wrap it up there. Kelly J. Keane Minshall.
So Kelly J. Keane, first and foremost, says it like it is. You're being a misogynist by trying to, number one, take down the very definition of what a woman is on a billboard that shouldn't actually be offensive at all, but you claim that you got offended or that your so-called transgender friends got offended because they saw the definition of what it is to be a woman. So you are, in fact, by the very definition, being very much a misogynist, because you as a man should know that it's not a good idea at all to take down something that a woman has put there in the first place, and there's nothing wrong with it. So what does that tell you about your own damn character, mate? You got none. And again, I'll say it, like, what sort of doctor has got all this free time when the hospital system and the medical clinics, you can't even see a bloody doctor. The average time here in Australia to see a doctor now is like 3 weeks. If you're rural, it's almost a month. So God forbid you actually get sick, because you won't be able to see a doctor, or you just clog up the hospital system in the public sector and hope for the best there. But why is a doctor got so much free time on his hands that he can call up and harass the advertising company board or CEOs to get this harmless thing taken down? Now, this person, Dr. Harrop, whatever his name is, he saw it as a problem. So there's nothing inherently wrong with the definition, but there is a problem because an actual woman put it on a billboard. Like, I don't get it. So the actual problem itself is not the definition, but it's the billboard that the woman decided to put up, because it's the woman's fault, ladies and gentlemen. The woman is making an actual statement, and that person's going, oh, because of her track history, she's been very transphobic, which doesn't exist. She's been, it's seen as hate speech somehow. Again, I'll say it and I'll raise the question, and I even put it up on my Twitter. So the people that got offended by that definition that they're trying to be a woman, but they can't be a woman because they're a biological dude. And again, it shows you've got a man versus a woman in this. And also you got a lot of women too, like that Sky News host. She wasn't doing Kelly J. Keane any favors at all. And you can obviously tell which side of the debate she leans towards with some of the comments that she was making and the questions that she was asking. But nevertheless, you've got a lot of these dudes that aren't defending women. In fact, they're defending the men that have found this loophole to just take over women's rights and women's spaces. And to me, that is ludicrous and unreal. It shouldn't happen. And that's why I think we should all stand behind Kelly J. Keane. I know many of you watching my videos love Kelly J. Keane, and Megan Kelly as well. She's all in favor of this. And I would love to get that shirt, even though I know I'm not a woman, but I stand for women. And I want them to have their own spaces. Like, you're allowed your own spaces, for goodness sake, and not to have men impede on your spaces. But anyway, I think enough has been said from me, because everything has been said by Kelly J. Keane. And I don't really think I can add too much about it, except for the fact that I am all in favor and all in support of what she said. So I just think it's really ludicrous and nonsensical what is taking place in today's society. It's rather concerning how you've got a lot of people that just weaponize these words like transphobic or incitement of violence when it's a dictionary definition that offends people. Like, people that hate the truth will always see the truth as being hateful. That's just it. And that guy, so-called doctor, needs to, number one, get alive, and number two, start seeing more patients, because you're bored, mate. You're bored. Anyway, you guys take care. You be blessed. And I'll see you all in the next video.